Welcome to our American journey. We have our first guest on the podcast today. We have Dhruvil here, and I'm very excited to share his story. And he will take the lead on all the tangents. And Dhruvil, why don't you introduce yourself, and we'll start from there.
Hey Praneeth, thank you for hosting me on your podcast. I think yeah, it's a pleasure. I think what you're doing is great. I'm
Thank you.
really excited for your journey for sure. But yeah, let me talk about myself.
Sure.
I am a software engineer. I've started working in US like 6 years ago, almost now, and I started my career with a very small company, like
Mhm.
so small startup, and trying to explore new opportunities right now. So currently situated in Bay Area, and yeah, still trying out my luck.
Nice, nice. Bay Area. I recently moved to Bay Area, so I'm still learning, and
Oh wow.
yeah, I think it's a great place to be. Definitely expensive. Has its
Well,
own pros and cons, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
right. So let me start with asking what's on your mind currently, right? Today's Sunday. I am sure you must be relaxing, but with work, with immigration, with life in US, what's in your mind? What would you want to start with?
Sure. So let me tell you, today I'm just thinking about, I don't know if you know, but yesterday India won T20 World
Oh
Cup.
yes, oh
So
yes.
that was a big victory. So right now, what's going on in my mind? If I really wish I would be with my really close friends with whom I have been like enjoying this journey, like in the past, like 2011 World Cup we won, like my friends,
Right,
and like
right.
friends is very big part of my life.
Yes, yes.
I really wish if some of my friends would be with me and this and that. But yeah, that's part of that. Like whenever you're in US, you are bound to miss certain events
Right,
to enjoy with your friends, sometimes family and
right,
stuff like that. So
right.
yeah, those things were going on in my mind from yesterday. That hey, but I enjoyed it. It's not no
Yeah,
complaint. But yeah,
definitely.
it could have been better. And yeah, it's fun. But we still usually talk on the phone and everything like that. That's
You
all.
reminded me of 2011 World Cup. So I was in VIT doing my bachelor's at that time.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was from I remember if I'm not wrong, it was around 11 o'clock in the night when India won, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was on the streets. We were also like on the streets
So
running,
much fun.
screaming. That was the moment, right? And it's been what, 13 years after what India
Yeah.
has again got
Uh,
that historic win.
sure.
South
Yeah.
Africa. So that was really, really an amazing match. And I agree. We definitely miss our friends we were very close with, who have from where or the childhood memories, or let's say playing cricket, all of that is associated, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we start there? Like, how was your childhood to start with? What kind of things you think are were really that you miss right now being in US?
Okay. Uh, yeah. So I think the best childhood memory which I can say is from my bachelor's actually, or when I was doing my bachelor's in back in India, right? At that time, so you have like friends around you almost 24/7, right? Like that. You always do things together. You study, but you also do a lot more things than study,
Not much.
right? Stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so what happens at that time is study is just one of the I think passively you are doing, but the actively you are just enjoying the life. I
True.
think that was the best part. And when I actually come to US, right, to do my masters and stuff like that, now it's the completely reverse way. Now, now I just do actively study, and passively, if you be like, okay, you want to because culture is little different as well,
Yeah.
right? It's like
True.
that. So yeah, no friends will say, hey, okay, we'll be together 24/7 and stuff like that. People have different priorities, different things. So you grow up basically. So yeah, I sometimes feel that that's part of growing up, but sometimes miss those part.
Right. No, that's why we say, right, bachelor's is our golden period
Yeah,
because we
exactly.
learn so many things. We are at that age, 18 to 22, the age where we are growing up and learning so many things, being with friends. So yeah, I think that's definitely the golden period of everyone's life. And
Yeah.
how was your journey in your bachelor's? Like, at what point of time you thought I should come to US, right? that would be the question a lot of people would be asking themselves right now. That okay, well, I'm in my fourth year or my third year. Like, should I go to US? Should I start working in India or
Yeah.
any other part of the world? So, what was your thought process? How was your journey there?
Yeah, sure. I think it's, yeah, I'll be honest with you about that, right?
Oh,
So,
sure, please.
yeah. So so basically, my dad is a government. My dad is retired government servant, right? So he used to work in police department. So now what he really wanted me to do from childhood, he always kept telling me, "Hey, you should do IAS or you should do IPS, you should do UPSC, stuff like that, right? Like because those really high rank officers and this and that, and he really loved that, and I did consider those things for some time, and then um, looking at how hard that thing is and stuff like that, looking at how hard they to crack IIT and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And yeah, while doing the bachelor's, this was the thought process you have in your mind, right? That hey, what you do want to do, what you don't want to do, and then there was one more option where they were like, hey, let's go to US. Like, of course, in my whole class, people were planning for different things. So me and my those couple of friends, we basically decided that hey, do we really want to do MBA? No. We basically started to rule out stuff that hey, we don't want to do UPSC. Why? Because it's okay too hard.
right,
We don't know even if we can crack it. I mean, it's yeah, but I think US was here is the thing, right? Like when you are back in India, at that time when you look at the US people who you're like your elders who has a friend who is in US, they'll be like, hey, I have like $1 million because I was just here until 10 years. I have $1 million. I have this, I have that. Like you will feel like, hey man, these guys have like so much money. They're
right.
so much successful. That's incredible. Like it sounds so fascinating
True.
that you will be like, hey, no, okay, this is what I want for sure. This is
Yep,
and it looks even easier to crack compared to other stuff, what I just mentioned, right? UPSC or IITs or stuff like that.
yep.
So, yeah, based on that thought, I think I decided, and somehow I was able to convince my friends too. And they were also ready. They were like, hey, let's go. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Wow,
So,
that's great. So you have a bunch of friends who all plan to come to US.
yeah, yeah.
I think so. That reminded me. I have a similar story. So I have a very close friend, Kashish. So we are together from bachelor's,
Uh-huh.
and we were together in the masters, and
Mhm.
even together till like I was in Cincinnati and Boston. So I think I can relate. Like he was the one who pushed me that oh you should.
Oh,
So I can
yeah,
completely relate to that part. Now
exactly.
that leads my thought to this question, right?
Uh-huh.
Back in 2012, when I was preparing for all this, understanding what is US, why I should go there, what I will do there, it all felt like a dream, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, US is the place you want to be, right?
right.
So coming down to 2016, I'm assuming when you made your plans to come to US,
Yeah.
did anything change? Like, what is the perception that people had at 2016? Like, at my time, it was like all dreamy, dreamy place to come to. Was it the same in 2016?
Yeah, I think so. I see a lot difference today,
Mhm.
which we can talk about later. But in
Like,
2016, it was definitely the dreamy place. Like I did not really think that, hey, I want to pursue my career in autonomous driving. Or
hmm,
in, probably I didn't even know what is autonomous driving 2016 when I was trying to come here, right?
like,
Only thought process I had in my mind was, okay, we'll go there and we'll see.
yeah,
We'll do our masters and we'll see. We'll try to get the job, and that's like we knew that some of things we knew that hey, we have engineers have a minimum pay of $60,000, $65,000,
right,
stuff like that. So those kind of calculations were there. That hey, okay, if after 2 years, if I'll be able to get crack a decent job, I'll be getting $65,000. My loan is $30,000. So probably in 2 years, 3 years, I'll be able to pay back my loan.
yeah,
And those kind of hazy thoughts were there. I personally did not have any industrial thought that, hey, no, this is exactly what I want in my life or something like that.
right. I think you're right. So I think when we are planning for this, the most we can see is like 2 years, right? Okay,
Yeah.
at least we will do our masters, right?
Yeah.
So when people ask you in this question in the interview, what will you do in 5 years and stuff, I always think at the back of my mind, like, how would I know? I don't know
Yeah.
the next month, right? How would I predict, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're right. Like what we come with the thought is like we'll do our masters and then we'll see how things go from there.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? What's the perception right now? And then I can tell my perception of what I feel talking to people about their stories. What do you think right now people think? Like, is still a dreamy place to come to, or it has changed?
So, so I think there are bits and pieces changed. Bits
Mm,
and pieces changed where I can already see people in India
mm,
are also getting paid a lot right
yes.
now. If you talk about Bangalore
Yes.
or Hyderabad, or I mean in IT sectors overall, right? In any other country as well, right? Not only India.
Yep.
So basically, I think the remote job has
Yep.
started to go stuff like that. So now people's perception has changed a little bit. Now people are starting to think that, hey, how much money I'll be able to save
Mm,
if I'll go to US versus if I'll be here. Something like that. People have started to think like that.
right.
And people knows that lifestyle is different over here, but they also know that you also have to pay most taxes over there. So I think people have become more smarter in terms of information. More and more information they
Right.
are becoming more smarter that, hey, H1B is hard to get. It's like they know it before even
Mm,
get the F1. It's not like they don't know it, they know it.
that's
So
true.
that's why sometimes you already know, right? They choose Canada, the other option where the immigration is easier or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
But there are other pros and cons. I can talk definitely a lot more that why you should choose US over Canada in terms of IT and software industry.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think people have started to think, and people also now wants to take a experience before come here, and I think it's
Yeah.
a really good idea, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So you have some clarity that, hey, this is how the industry works, and this
Right.
is what I want to do.
Exactly.
That is the more certainty you have once you come here. But yeah,
No, you're right, because when I talk to people in my consultation calls for EB1
uh-huh.
across the globe, I have spoken to people, and one message that I've got is yes, people still want to come here, right?
Yeah,
They know the hardships, they know about the visa, they still want to come here, but they want to be more informed. So I concur with your thought that information is something that they look for now. If they get
yeah,
the right information, they will be making a right decision
yeah,
eventually. But
right.
yes, you're right that the thought of coming here is still ingrained. They want to come here.
They
I think
do.
one message that kind of US gives out is the standard of life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that
Yeah,
you'll have a better standard of life, you'll have all the things that you need, you pay taxes for and stuff. So I agree. I think it's still there, but yeah, information is what people now seek for.
for sure. Yeah.
I think that leads me to kind of getting a little back, right? So
Mhm.
if we go a little bit back in your journey, before you came here for your master's. So when you were applying for master's, and I think this is where this section would be very important for people who are planning to come here or to do their master's or study here. What was your thought process? Like, what was your, let's say, source to find information on how to do masters, where to do masters? What was your choices and stuff?
Yeah, so for sure. So I think at that point of time, there were uh, the good sources we had was like, hey, you join a consultancy or something like that. They might guide you better.
Right.
Or the other good sources also, you might basically try to look for the universities you really wish to go to. But for that, it's very hard to get because
Yeah.
you don't know, right, what universities are good for you, what you like. You can just Google it now and it is
Yeah.
better. But yeah, yeah. So my thought process, I think any bachelor's, whoever is doing a bachelor's, right, I think their thought process could be similar. Like they are still in the phase of life where they are trying to figure it out that, hey, what I really want to do in life.
Yeah.
Probably they have, or probably they haven't, right, because they are very young people, right? So I think at that time, what happens, they basically look at their bachelor's degree. That, hey, if their bachelor's degree in computer science or electrical, they'll be like, hey, okay, let's try to match it. Then it will be easier for me to get admission. That's the first step,
Yep.
right? If like they don't really they don't really think that, hey, no, this is my actual passion or something like that. They'll be like, no, I want to do something like this. Then I'll get the admission, and I'll get the admission. If I'll get a good admission in a good college, I'll be able to get the job.
True.
Which college is giving more jobs? Which
Yeah.
college is giving less jobs? Which college is more reputed? Which college is less reputed? Which college alumni are great? Like stuff like this, right? That's a good thought
Exactly.
process in
Exactly.
terms of when you are doing your bachelor's and all, right? So those kind of thought process we always had, right, and stuff like that. But one different thought, not different, but probably some people also were, some different thought I had was I wanted to go to California. That was
Oh, very nice.
yeah, yeah.
You
I
were you're fixated on it.
I was fixated on that. I wanted to go to California, no matter what, like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, but the reason is this, like I didn't know much about it. I just knew
Right.
one thing, that
Right.
hey, there's Silicon, something called Silicon Valley there. There is
Right.
something called software industry there.
Right.
It's great. I
Yeah.
can even go to East Coast and then go to California. But one or two friends who were already in the US, they actually advised me this, that hey, you start from California. Okay. So that
Okay.
will be easier for you to
Right.
do everything going forward.
Right.
I was like, okay, sure. So that was the one thought process I had in addition, and I chose to come to California University.
That is great. I think all the points are really important, like
Yeah.
understanding the job market, understanding the university,
Yeah.
and exactly like where your friends want to be, right? Because ultimately those would be your support uh,
Right.
systems.
Yeah.
I think when I was doing all this, the only places I knew in US, and to be very honest, I knew Chicago and
Uh-huh.
New York, and I've
Uh,
heard of San Francisco. So these are the three cities I used to know that okay,
right.
they exist in US, and this is what it US is known for. So I think you're right. So I think sometimes you kind of take the path where you really want to be, and I think if you do that, that really
Uh-huh.
helps you in the journey.
Yeah, exactly. It does. Yeah.
So I think we touched upon this a bit. So you're a software engineer, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm assuming you did your master's in computer science. So how was that journey? Like a lot of people ask me this question, and I'll try to frame it in a single question frame. Like it's a lot of questions that people have. But how was the experience of masters, like doing masters here in US, let's say for computer science, when compared to other places? If you can answer that, and what was your thought on
Okay. Yeah, sure. So basically, I think the universities here provides so the best thing about the masters in computer science was the projects, right? I think that is the most important thing.
that?
If
Right.
I think for any degrees, not even computer
Mm.
science, any degrees,
Yep.
because that is the only thing which leads you to the real market and real industry experience and real job product,
Yep.
something like that. One good thing I had was in my university, I studied from Loyola Marymount University, Los Angeles.
Okay.
In my university, one good thing was there were very few international students. It's a
Oh.
can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, but I'll tell you pros and cons, right?
Depends. Yes.
So the pros are basically because there are very less immigrant students.
Mm.
So now I have less competition in getting research assistantship. I
Yep.
have less competition in going to a professor. Like I was like talking to a professor one on one like that all the time. Like I never was like, hey, okay, we are in a class and stuff like that. It was
Right.
very direct communication, stuff like that, and all the professor has eye on you particularly as well, even if you are an average student like that. So those are the pros. Cons are you don't have much of a senior people, or those are your alumni probably are not in big industries. It's hard to
Right.
get contacts.
Yep.
Professors might have contact, might don't have contact, because professors are probably, if they are long time in industry, in college they are probably are not in more into industry.
Right.
So those are sort of pros and cons, right? And but the best thing I'll tell you, right? The best thing what I did is I did the thesis basically.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, I tried to lower down my in-person classes as much as possible. So basically, there were like 30 credits, right, or something like that. I only took like out of the you usually have two subjects mandatory or something like that, right? In every university have that. So I tried to lower down those classes, whichever are required, and
Mm.
that's it. All the other credits I try to put down in project. That
Oh,
hey, I
wow.
want to build something. That's it. Something like that,
Nice.
because that was the only thing I was feeling productive all the time. Not like
Right.
I just theory is important. I'm not
Right.
disagreeing, but the actual productive thing, which job interviews cares, like all any job interviewers care. They'll be like this,
Hands-on experience.
yeah, hands-on experience. The most common question they'll be like, hey, in this product, you made this thing?
Mm.
What is the hardest challenge you faced? Right
Interesting.
now, like theoretical questions, they don't really care. Like, hey, if you know, if you don't know, they do sometimes, but not always. But what they actually feel is, hey, how much in short period of time, like how much of amount of pressure you felt, like
Mm.
what are the difficulties you felt, how did you overcome it, how did you this, how did you like spend overnight for 1 month to just make this product, and what was your mindset, because that's how the companies work. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, so for me, project was very important, and yeah, that was the best part.
Okay.
Uh,
And
like,
like I think you gave a very good summary of like how the pros and cons work. But
yeah,
coming to the biggest challenge And let's say, okay, let's ask two things here, which are very helpful. Like, what is the one thing that you like the most doing masters here, right? And I think you think that this really helped you in your career. And I think you have a very fascinating career, which we will definitely talk about in a second. And then what was the biggest challenge, right? Like that stopped you at places, then you thought, oh, this is not working for me. I should have done this, right? Or differently or something. So what are those two things?
Sure, sure. So the best thing I really, okay, so I'll talk about best thing first and then the other stuff. The best thing I really loved was when I was doing my thesis, right, my project, my
Right.
professor gave me all freedom, like literally everything. He was like, "Hey, you have 3 months. Find
Okay.
your topic, whatever you want to do, and just find your topic and give it to me." I
Mm,
think that was the first time in my life I
mm.
thought that, hey, what I really want to build as a product, something
Oh,
like that.
oh, nice.
Before that, like I think this kind of thought nobody gave me, that hey, you do whatever you want. Every time I was in constraints, right?
Yeah,
Like in all the they'll be like, hey, we have this equipment,
yeah.
find a project around it. Most of the universities does that,
Mm.
right?
True, true.
So I think that was the best part about my project and my university. Then my professor, like he went out of the, and then I at that time I started thinking out of the blue or out of everywhere that, hey, okay, what is happening in the world and
Right.
what I want to do. Something like, I think that thought is very important. Earlier you get this thought is more important for you. But it took me long time to get this thought because someone gave me opportunity after a very long time, like that. So
True.
that is the best thing.
Yeah.
The worst thing I can say is basically because, as I said, there were very less international students, very less people to look forward to. Like all my colleagues, or not colleagues, my classmates and everyone were like citizens over here, and they were like basically working in a Boeing or Northrop Grumman and stuff like a big companies, government entities, stuff like that, right? So that's not place to be for international students because you don't have social securities and stuff like that. So
Great, great.
so the problem was when I was trying to find the internship, I sort of neglected it. Or neglected it means I just applied for 15 20 companies, and I concluded that hey, I think I can't get it, and I just stopped it. And then slowly I realized that hey, after 20 or 50 applications you cannot get the you have to do 1,000 applications or you have to keep improving, you have to keep doing this, you have to keep doing that. I mean, software industry was so like tough, right, at that time, and it still it is, right? It's not like that. So even right now, if you are fresher, right, you do 50 application now, it's hard. You can get, but it's hard. Chances are very less that hey, you will end up in a job. You need to do at least 1,000 applications or something like that, and you need to keep improving your resume depending on the job posting, depending on talking to people. So those things I was not able to get the guidance from
Mm.
the. You can get it from your seniors or
Yeah.
from your alumni, right?
Yeah.
That is something I think I really wish if I would have that.
Right. No, I think that's a very interesting point because when people reach out to me, right, on LinkedIn, they ask me like, okay, I'm not able to get a job, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, I'm trying to do all the things possible. I'm trying to cater my resume. I'm trying to work on finest things and skills. So I tell them that see, it's a process, right? What happens is we try to lose that. Okay, after 10 to 20 applications, there is no email, there is no conversation, and we feel that it's the end of the world, right?
yeah. Correct.
I have myself faced circumstances where I had to just redraw like go to the drawing board, find out what works for me,
What
right?
works for you? Yeah. Or
Definitely,
what are you doing wrong? Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So, and that kind of leads to the phase, right, which I think is very important. So, once you are ending your master's, right, you're about to graduate, right, the biggest challenge comes job
Yeah.
market, finding
Oh,
a job, right? And I think that's why I kind of prefaced it with this question. So, what was your struggle in finding a job, or was it easy fairy tale? So, what was your journey there?
I think of course it was not easy. No fairy tale, nothing like that. No, no way, no way. So so my I think it's very interesting to look back actually at that time because you have this 180 days of 180 days, 60 90 days, 90 days of clock,
90
right?
days, yes, yes,
Yeah, 90 days of
95.
clock, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
it just time starts ticking the moment you graduate.
Yep.
And for me, I did not really started finding a job until I graduated because I was so much focused in my thesis and my project and everything like that. And
Right.
then suddenly it hit me. I'm like,
Right.
oh man, okay, now we need the job.
Right.
Oh my God. And it was crazy. I started applying the job as much as possible. I started emphasizing on my project that, hey, this is what I did. I put so much effort in last
Yeah.
6 months, 12 months, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And nobody gives you a call. Nobody gives you a call. So it was extremely tough. I feel for a month or 2 months I did not even started getting a call. But then I think I also heard somewhere, just like this YouTube video you are making. Somebody made the YouTube video at that time who basically tried to explain, hey, what you should do if you're a fresher.
Oh,
So they
interesting.
basically told me that, hey, you go on a LinkedIn, you keep messaging people, you
Right.
talk to them, you
Right.
talk to your industry experts, stuff like that. So that's what I started actually doing, and that actually helped me a lot. Then I'm like, hey, okay, if you are in the industry, this is how you need to think, right? Something like that. So this is how you need to prepare your resume. This
Hmm.
is how you need to do that. Then and then they'll give you a call. Like you have to have your all the job description bullets. You have to have on point on your resume like
Right.
that.
Right.
Then and then they might give you a call. Otherwise, they will not even give you. That's the first step. Then
Right.
you do for the next step that, hey, okay, now you have a call. How to crack the HR, how to crack the first round, how to crack the coding, how to crack the third round, how to crack the final panel. So it's a iterative process, right? So after that,
Right.
I basically filled in a lot of first rounds, second rounds, third rounds, and then basically I basically tried to make the statistics, right? That, hey, okay, after failing for 4 times in second round,
Right.
I am able to go to final round now.
Right.
And if I'm doing like 10 final round interview, then out of 10, I might have one or two offers, stuff
Right.
like that. So those kind of statistics have started coming, right? And then yeah, then eventually, I think with this approach only, with LinkedIn approach only, I was able to get my first job,
Okay.
right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So there was a company called Ferrada Future.
Hmm.
I basically applied there and I texted a guy in Ferrada Future that, hey, I want this job.
Right. Right.
And that guy was not in Ferrada Future at that time. Only his LinkedIn wasn't updated. And he
Oh,
was in a
okay.
company called Kanu. And that guy basically told me, "Hey, I recently joined a startup, and it is amazing. We are building an electric vehicle. You want to join here?" I
Hmm.
was like, "Okay, but I thought you were in FF." Then he's like,
Hmm.
"No, I'm not in Friday anymore. I'm in Kanu, and this is even better company and stuff like that." I'm like, "Okay, I'll try. I'll give
Right.
an interview." And
Why
who
not?
knew? They basically gave me a better offer, better thing, and I ended up joining them.
It's a very interesting part because I think some of my job switches are based on
Uh-huh.
LinkedIn, completely
Yeah,
LinkedIn networking, right?
yeah,
Talk to
exactly.
people, get ideas, understand what
Right.
they what they're looking for, draft
Uh-huh.
skill set around that portion. I think that's a very good point that you made.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of leads to the section I think a lot of people are looking forward to. I'm assuming in the podcast is
Uh-huh.
the challenges with the visa, right? So
Yeah.
once you get a job and let's say it's a good job, you're happy with it, you have a good salary. Now then comes the problems of getting visa, H-1B, for example, right? So how was that journey? Right? So you started
Mhm.
with Kanu, so I'm assuming you started on OPT,
Yeah.
and did you get your STEM OPT extension, and how was the whole process?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, okay, so I think about the visa, right? So what happens is most of the time I have seen
Right.
people like to believe on the mouth to mouth information. And
Uh,
people do believe in mouth to mouth information.
sure. Yeah.
There are very few people who actually go to USCIS website and actually read the rules and everything in
Very
detail.
true.
Very
Very
few
true.
people.
Very
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So what happens is even I used to believe in that, and I basically some of my friends told me, hey, okay, you got the OPT, you got your first job. Now the second thing is apply for your H1, apply
Right.
for STEM OPT. Once you get your STEM OPT, once you get your H1,
Right.
then you apply for green card or I-140 and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
The process.
that is the process, right?
Yeah.
And I just started to following it. The first year I did not get my H1 did not get picked.
Right.
Second year my H1 did not get picked.
Wow.
But now, what happened in second year? I think if you remember in 2020, right? I think they did the
COVID.
lottery 3 times or 4 times.
Oh
Some
yeah, 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 yes, yes. That was the special. Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
was a special case. 3 times I did the lottery.
yeah, yeah. Third
Two
round.
times
Yes.
it did not get picked for me. But third time when I was in a flight coming back from somewhere, I think, and then I just landed, and my basically HR texted me that, hey, your things are picked. My legal basically texted me saying,
Wow.
how? I'm like, 2 times is already done. He's like, no, they did third time.
Third time.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God, okay. So at that time, my H1 got picked.
Right, right.
And then basically I asked my company to do like, hey, can you start my I-140 and stuff like that? And they're like, yeah, sure. So at that time, I was already in Kanu for more than 2.5 to 3 years, like that. I have already
There
spent
for long.
2.5 years over there.
Got it.
Then I got to know that, hey, you could have start your I-140 on day one.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like, no, I didn't have H1. They were like, hey, you don't need H1 for that. I was like, no, but I was told that you need H1 for that. So you see, that is the problem. And if I
Exactly.
would have started on day one, probably I would have got my I-140 and H1B on the same day or whatever, right? In 2 years, I would have got it. But I
Best
didn't
situation.
do
Yes,
that.
yes.
So, but that's a mistake sometimes people make, right? So that's okay. So, yeah, that's what happened. And then I got my H1. And my I-140 store is a little funny, actually.
Okay.
So what happens is I joined as software test engineer, right? And I worked there for in Kanu only for 2.5 years around, so as a software test.
Right.
And then I started my I-140 after 2 years, and then until 1 year it goes by, then I'm like, hey, I want to switch from software testing to development now.
Okay. Like software developer, basically. Okay.
Software developer, yeah. So I switched to software development.
Right.
Then they were like, hey, you have to restart your I-140. I was like, hey, I have already spent 1 year, man. Like, why do I want to restart? They were like, no, you need to restart because your job profile changed more than 50%. So now you have to restart it.
And it's in the same company, Kanu?
The same company, yeah. Same company, yeah. So, and then I was like, then I started to think about this. I'm like, hey, what do I want to do? But my manager told me, hey, you've been testing for 1 more year. That's okay. You'll get your I-140 and everything.
Right, right,
But somehow I was not ready for that. I'm like, no, my career, my trajectory, that's a very different thing. So
right,
I switched it. I'm like, anyway, I'll start it again. And
right.
I switched to development.
Hmm.
I started my I-140. Again, I spent 1 year there.
Right.
And then again, chose to switch the company.
Oh.
I switched my company. Then I went to Lucid Motors. And then I spent 7 months there.
Hmm.
Uh, and then again, I switched the company. And then I basically came to NVIDIA. And finally, last year, they started my 140. And yeah, I think this is where I am basically in terms of visa.
So I think it's right to say when we started recording this, right? We talked about few things, and you mentioned that you have always prioritized your career over the visa or
Yeah.
immigration, right?
Yeah.
And I think for most part, it seems that it helped you in your career because you are in at NVIDIA. It's one of the biggest company right now. You're in the market, which is most demanded market right now. But do you any chance feel that, oh, well, would I if I would have done that, like went for my Iron 14 canoe, would things be different by any chance? Do you think that would be a case?
Yeah, no, it's a very, very good question, right? So actually, I have seen a lot of people doing this, right? They just wait for their I-140 until 2, 3. Right now, I think the process time is 2.5 years or something like that. I don't know, 2 years, more
Even the
than 2 years.
labor certification takes time. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what most of the people do is they are always afraid of visa situation and they try to compromise their career trajectory sometimes. two
Right.
years seems little time,
Hmm.
less time,
Yeah.
but that's technically 3.5% of your life. You don't reach if
Wow, that's a
statistically
very good way to
speaking,
put.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
3.5% of your life, right? It's not
Right.
easy.
Right.
And if my I-140 priority date is 2 years back or today, I
Yeah.
don't know how much more things will be different once I will get my green card. I don't know how many years later, but once
True.
I get my green card,
True.
versus if I really focus on my career
Right.
and if I keep moving and if I keep doing what I really want to do,
Right.
I think that will change my trajectory over those 10 years or 15 years. That is significantly different. So this is something is very underrated. People, I feel, lot of it's because of the system is designed in such a way, right? Everybody are most of the people are sort of always in the stress situation where hey, they want to get their I-140 done. Now they'll be able to just live in the US forever and everything like that. They want to get a security first, and then they'll be like, okay, I'll think about my career.
Makes sense.
But according to me, that's little bit of conservative mindset,
Hmm.
not the progressive mindset. This is how I differentiate the people's mindset
Right.
sometimes.
Right.
That little conservative mindset, the reason is that, hey, you first think why, when you're in US, you are in the land of opportunity,
Hmm.
right? You're in
Yeah.
the land of opportunity. Around you, there are 500, 5,000 companies, which
True.
probably
True.
in any other part of the world, they don't have those
Very
opportunities, right?
true. Very
So
true.
you don't need to adapt their mentality and just and work here like that, something like that. Here,
Yeah.
your mentality should be US mentality, where you have a lot of opportunities, grow, 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 and grow, right? That's why people come to US, right? I
Right.
mean, that's my thought process sometimes.
But one question that comes up, and I think a lot of people might, after this podcast, reach out to you on your LinkedIn and ask this question that, okay, you're right. Prioritizing your career is very important because that will give you what you want to do in life, right?
Yeah,
The purpose, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because your job is kind of linked to your visa, right? If you don't
It
have
is.
H1B, it's difficult to continue working here, right? You might have to go back to India or from where you came. So, what was your thought on that? Like, okay, if I don't get the H1B, what was your plan?
Yeah, actually. So that was definitely very strenuous situation. It was stressful situation at that time. If I wouldn't have got the job,
Mm.
I think I already tried to talk to my manager and everybody that, hey, what if I don't get my visa and what else I can do? I think there are some people do day one CPT.
Yeah,
They go to a schools, go back to a schools and PhDs and stuff like that. What I really wanted to start, if my plan B was to do PhD actually. That
oh,
was something I was gonna do. Yeah.
nice.
I was not gonna do day one CPT. I mean, I don't know if I what I would have done, but my plan was
Right,
I was not going to do my like day one CPT plus job and stuff like that. I was going to do PhD, and I was going to be like, I'll finish my PhD
right.
completely, get a good college,
Mhm.
and then I'll do something else. That was something my thought process. If I wouldn't have got that one.
Right,
Yeah, or yeah, I never thought about the other plans where a lot of people think they want to go to Canada or some
right,
other countries or probably go back to India, stuff like that. Yeah, those things weren't on my priority list.
right. And I think I see on your LinkedIn that you are in at Stanford doing a course, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That tells me that you're constantly looking for new skills, uh, new kind of attribution to your professional journey.
yeah.
And I kind of like that thought that, okay, well, if things don't work, if they go all south, then I will go and do my PhD. Does
Yeah.
that thought still come to you? Like when you're doing a course at Stanford, do you still feel that should I go and do my part-time PhD probably?
Yeah, sure. So one thing is always constant with me is that no matter wherever I reach or I don't feel settled. I just don't feel settled.
Right.
And I really admire Steve Jobs a lot. Actually, I used to read his books and everything. So, and I really like his thought. One thought where he always stay hungry, stay foolish all the time like that. And that's okay to not settle
Right.
long period of time. It's okay.
True.
That is the way to grow. I think that's what he said. And I literally felt it in my life. I think if you see in my past career, like I switched from testing to development. From development, I was like, hey, we were not going to the production. Company was facing hard time to go up to the production. I was like, hey, I'm working on a product from 4 years, but it's not going to the market. Why? Okay, I want to go to the bigger company and check,
Yeah.
hey, how the product looks like when it is actually in production. That's why I came to a big company. Now
Right.
I'm here. I'm like, hey, okay, I have seen the product is going to the production. People are using it. But am I actually enjoying it? What is the next step? So now I'm thinking like, hey, no, AI revolution is coming. Everything is
Yeah.
there. It's already here. So I'm
Right.
like, no, I need to learn more and more about that part. If life give me a choice, I will do PhD for sure. But if it will, I haven't really thought that, hey, no, I will do a PhD. But yeah, that's the way to go, I think, right now. Because in my daily job, I have started to feel in a big companies, you don't have a lot of exposure just like startups, right? I don't know exactly how product goes from top to bottom. So
Uh-huh.
at that time, there is something new needs to come in. So
True.
that's why I actually started bunch of courses at Stanford where I get to learn actually new stuff, get to meet actually some, I would say, some legends of this industry over there. I
Yep.
think that actually helps me, and that gives me a lot of confidence and lot of energy as well. That hey, no, you never settle. Keep looking.
I like that thing. Never settle. Never settle.
Yeah.
I think Uh, Always looking for something new in life. Right. Okay. I don't say that don't get settled, because some people like that thought of
Yeah, yeah,
sitting
yeah.
down and doing their things. That's completely fine. But I think for people who really want to keep exploring, I think never settle is the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
motto.
very important part actually.
Yeah.
I actually like your EB1 journey. Actually, I
Right.
read about you, looked at your couple of videos before we got connected. I have already looked at couple of your videos which you made on EB1 and also. I really found your mentality very progressive.
Right.
You did not like you got your EB1, but you could have said that, hey, okay, that's it. I got my visa. I'm done. Okay, I'll just focus on something else. But no,
Yeah.
you are not right. You like to do more, right? And you are
I,
doing it. Yeah.
I think you're right, because I think it's same with me and my spouse. I think we were in situations sometimes where we wanted to settle, but I think the God's plan was very different. We never
Yeah.
got to settle. So before moving to Bay Area, we were in Boston. We thought maybe this is the place we will settle down. But no, now we are in Bay Area, and I'm not sure how it would go. And I think sometimes it feels stressful to keep doing this,
Yeah, yeah,
but I think it also gives you that king to keep moving, right? Do
yeah.
these things and see where life takes you. You never know where you want to end or what is your final settlement. You never know, right? You should keep doing what comes your way. And I think that kind of leads to me the final section of this podcast, Ruben.
Mm.
Uh, I think you have given a lot of information on different topics, stages of your process and life. But if I have to sum it up all, right, and I have to ask you, first thing, what is the future that you're looking at? Let's start with that. What is in your mind regarding your future?
Okay. Yeah, I mean to say for my future, right? I really wish that I want to uh, contribute in a product or so I really want to contribute in a product changing which is changing bits and pieces in the
Right.
world, right? So as Steve always says, right, that hey, you need to keep nudging in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You keep nudging, right? That's all your job is. Your job is nothing else. You keep nudging, and
Yeah.
one time you will see something pops up. And the moment you see something pops up,
Right.
at that time you know, hey, you are making a change.
Yep.
Now you have a more opportunity, chances, and your capability to do more and more and more and more change in the world. I think that's the best feeling I could ever get. I think yeah, that I really think that if I can contribute more and more and more and more,
Right.
would be the that would be my goal. And in future, where the, with the same mindset, I actually jumped into the autonomous driving, which I'm
Right.
working mostly right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
future, right? So,
that's the future. Yeah, right.
right.
And I also have this. That will also sum up with my one more decision right now, where I'm studying as well.
Hmm.
Sum up with that because in autonomous driving from past couple of years, right, they are trying to make it work, but I think the
Hmm.
final piece left to finish the autonomous driving and to make all the cars autonomous is to integrate generative AI with that. That
Hmm.
is the final piece left.
Right. Right.
That's why autonomous driving I have been learning from past 6 years because I've been working in that. The only place is there generative AI is I'm getting more knowledge because I think that bit is left to
Right.
integrate with this, and then it will be done. So I'm learning generative AI at Stanford. That's why
Wow.
I'm there, and that's what my goal is right now. And once I think I'll be able to contribute to this, and yeah,
Exactly. I think to sum it up, I would say keep fulfilling your passion, right?
yeah,
That's the motto.
that's
So that's
more.
amazing. That's amazing. And moving on, like to sum up it, and let's say if one sentence you want to say the biggest challenge that people face or you have faced coming to US, right? And what is the biggest thing that you think you achieved coming here, which you could not have probably, let's say, if you stayed in India? It could be that you would have achieved the same thing in India. That's completely fine if you don't want to answer that. But I always feel there's always something that you might have achieved here, which you might not have achieved in India, or vice versa. So to sum it up, what are those two things?
Sure. Um, the thing which I really think, which I think I still will, or hopefully I will, and I have achieved over here is I think the frontier tech, the
Mm,
frontier tech. I'm in a technical background, right? I'm a software engineer, right?
right.
What everybody technically wants, everybody wants to contribute to the frontier tech. They all wants to be in the front in the line. That you should be always dream of.
True.
I'm not saying you cannot be in the front of the line in India. You can, for sure. It's a lot of people are. They are way ahead.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is it's more tougher there than here. That's
Mm,
all.
opportunities.
Opportunities, exactly, exactly.
Mm,
So here to work on a way extremely frontier tech will actually give you a lot of exposure, and also the thought process which I just explained to basically make a change in the world, right? That will give you huge opportunities,
right.
and you will be able to contribute more and more and more and more. So
Exactly.
it is something I can see the best thing I can say coming to US. You can find it right at one day.
Right.
So that's why people should actually choose US. I really feel because
Right.
that you will get that opportunity. I mean
I
that's thing,
agree.
and it will be there for next 20 for 30 years. I don't know how long, but it will be there.
Right.
Um,
Agree. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If I would have been India, I think the major thing I would be doing, I think to considering that, hey, how to improve
Mm.
life, how to enjoy more life. That is also a good thing, right? You should enjoy your life. You should you basically go there, get more. I don't know. In India, the people have good salaries, software engineers. You get more salaries, you get good house, you live with the parents, you friends, family. It's fun. It's very fun, right? It's a good thing. So I think I would be more focused on that if
Mm.
I'm looking at other part of myself, if that would have happened or something like that.
Yeah.
But because I'm here now, I think I I would really like to get the opportunities and work towards that.
Right. And what is the biggest, uh, let's say, hurdle that you faced, challenge that you faced, and you think that if this was not there, maybe immigration could be one. I think a lot of us, non-immigrants, immigrants, the biggest barrier they faced is immigration, right? Because the immigration policies are not very, very well suited for people who really want to work here. It's kind of against them. It's not against, but at least not empowering them.
Not empowering. Agreed.
So was that your biggest challenge, or you think there was other things apart from immigration which really slowed you down or created a hurdle?
So I think, let me tell you, I think immigration can be one of my big, can be said or can be included in one of my biggest challenges. The reason is this: in my life, it did not really affect me. So it did not be like, hey, I did not get the H1B for 4 years, 5 years, and I had to go to the university. Those things didn't happen to me.
Mm.
That's fine. But actually, the way it actually affected me, immigration challenge was the mindset, right?
Mm.
My mindset was always restricted, right? Like
Right.
no matter whatever tech I work with, I never used to gain this mindset for a long time that,
Mm.
hey, I think I can actually make something on my own and I can start my own company, or I can do this, or I can do that. Hey, this knowledge is enough. Let's just start the company. Let's just do this. Let's just do that, right?
Right.
I feel if my mind would have been free in terms of immigration,
Right.
and I would have still achieved, or I would have still achieved like be in the same autonomous driving for 6 7 years. I think until now, I guess I would have done more. I would have probably tried to leave the job one day and then like, okay, I'll start a company, I'll try for 2 years, doesn't work, go back to the job. I think I would have done that
Mm.
for sure. And I think for me, that is something I feel immigration is was my mindset problem, right?
Right.
It took me very long time and very hard time to basically get out of that mindset. Hey, no matter what,
Right. Right.
will do whatever I want to do. If I want to really open a company, I will open a company. That's okay, right? Whenever I feel ready, like
Right.
that. I think that is still something people people feel challenged, and people have a lot of power. I'm telling you, people who are coming here, they're very extremely smart.
Definitely.
They
Definitely.
just can't pull it off most of the thing because of this mindset pressure that, hey,
Yep.
you,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I think you're right because when I was on H1B or before that on F1, OPT, STEM OPT, all of that, I think one thing that always stopped me is, oh, if I do this, would that affect my immigration?
Yeah, exactly. See? Yeah.
Right. And I think once I got my EB1, things opened up. I think the
Yeah.
pressure definitely was not there.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think, and that's what the theme of this podcast is, right? Because we have seen a lot of successes, right? We have seen Indians, uh, Chinese, and other nationalities, people doing great job, like doing extreme, I would say, historic things in US. But I
Mhm.
think I wanted to know what is that biggest challenge they have faced, right? And I think for you, I think you summed it up really well that that barrier stops you from doing things.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of hinted also that ultimately you may want to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
So, and I wish you all the very best. I think with that mindset, you can definitely be one, right? And you can provide other people that understanding, that mindset, that insight, that how you can put your career first and immigration comes in second, right?
Yeah. It
That's
things aligns in the end if you just focus on the career. I can say that.
exactly. And what would be your final advice? I think, first of all, thank you so much for coming on our American journey. And I think as you know, the idea and the theme is all about you and your story.
Right.
So, what would be your final words to people who are looking at this, seeing this? Uh, what would you summarize and say from your journey?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me here. I think I enjoyed our conversation really well. Yeah. And yeah, the final thing I would say is it's all about mindset. Do not let the the immigration problem comes into your way. Do
Mm,
not keep thinking about more. Get more focused on what you really want to do in life,
true.
where you are really passionate, where you are really encouraged, or where you can actually put more and more and more time and make a difference. What you really love, do that.
Very true.
I can tell you there are all the different ways in the world where you can figure out immigration. There are, I mean, nobody's no better than you. How many more ways are possible to
Yes,
do
yes.
stuff, right? So I would also recommend people to contact you
Thank
to
you.
just keep focusing on the career, and you want to figure it out immigration in the parallel, you can definitely ask you. You can advise them the best, but yeah, so just focus on your career
Mm,
and keep the immigration on the secondary and figure it out how to crack it. There are lot of advices on the internet like
right.
Praneeth, and you can just do that. Yeah, just focus. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. I think this is really great. I think a lot of people would learn a lot of things from this. Uh,
Hmm.
and as I said, it's all raw, right?
Yeah.
Never give you a list of questions. It's all about you, your journey. And I think we have a lot of people who are interested. So I hope this keeps coming up every Sunday or every other Sunday, and then people get to learn, right? From people like us who are immigrants, non-immigrants, right?
That's
So
what we wish the best. Yeah.
exactly. Once again, thank you so much, Dhruvil, to come on the podcast and share your journey. I know it takes guts, it takes effort to do this, right? So thank you so much for that. Right.
Thank you.